informal. We'll start with some questions, gentlemen, for each of you, if you would. And we'll start, Will, going on down to Carnell. How a coach has impacted your life?
You know, I think when you think of coaching, it's not, you know, the impact that you have on the field, sometimes more the impact that you have off. And I feel like some of the most influential coaches in my life, you know, are my strength coaches, and you know, some of these GAs or some of these guys that are working their way up that really just have these really good relationships with you that really want to see you succeed. And when you have a coach like that, man, it can have an unbelievable impact on you, and you can really change some of these young players' lives. And I experienced it when I was young. You know, had some guys mentored me and had some really good coaching here, and you know, it can change your life and it can really develop you into a better person and a better player. So,
Brian?
Yeah, I think you kind of alluded to it, Will. For me, my memories reach back to high school. I had a little bit in middle school or a little bit in Pee Wee football, but high school was big, college was big. My head coach, Jack Rose, I could not get to practice. A lot of time my parents were working, you know, early every day, so I had to run to his house every morning to catch a ride. It was probably a mile or so. So I'd run there. He'd be waiting for me. He would take me to practice, figure a way to get home. That was kind of my process. And then my high school track coach, my hurdle coach, still now a really good friend of mine. The impact he had on me as a young man was huge. That's, you know, well documented in my mind. And then being at Ohio State, Daryl Hazel was our receiver coach. He was steady and he was concrete and he was here the whole time, and that had a massive impact on me. Frankly, at the end of the day, my life goal and my journey is because of those that impacted me earlier in my life, and now I'm just trying to kind of push it forward. And but yeah, between my head coach in high school, my hurdle coach in high school, and then my receiver coach here at Ohio State, they changed my life.
Honestly, I think for me it's cool, right? So my dad is coach here at Ohio State, coached with the Bears as well. But relatively speaking, what I think is cool is the stories here, right? I mean, what's so impactful with coach here and other stories is the fact that it may not be the guy that gave you the best X and O's way to run around, or the way to throw a ball, or the way to read a coverage. It's somebody that picked you up when I was running over to your house to make it to practice on time. It's somebody that built the confidence in you because they saw that you were that good, or that you could do that thing, right? And all of us, we're all human, right? At the end of the day, right? So the best coach for me, obviously, yes, at a certain level was my dad, but it was also those ones that pushed me to stretch my confidence, to be uncomfortable. That happened here at Ohio State with Coach Drayton, that happened with Coach Smith, and even past that, right? I mean, I can tell you, Ike Hilliard, once I got to the then Washington Redskins, now Commanders, it's just that level of swag, and some of these guys can just make you feel so confident and do it so easily, but really it's just they're working on you as a human being, right? And that's what's most important, at least in me, as I look at coaching and what's been most impactful to me.
The coaches impacted me heavily here. They've been here for me through my ups and downs. They watched me grow since my freshman year of college. And not only Coach Hardy, because he's been an important person to me. He's impacted my life heavily. He's taught me how to be a better man, which is very important, because not only football is not all my life. I have the real world to go out there and experience. He taught me how to be a better man and how to go about that every day.
All right, let's go with the next question in reverse order, starting with you, Carnell. How has football affected your life?
Football means a lot to me. Football has given me my platform. Football has given me the way to go express other things of that nature. It's given me my platform to reach the younger people, even the older people.
Yeah, and for me, I work as an entrepreneur, right? So generally speaking, it's the passion to wake up every day knowing that you have to have a slight bit of productive paranoia that somebody may be doing something better than you, right? So for me, whether it's writing code, whether it's figuring out a way to look at a deal a different way, I know that what football did for me was be able to push the edge, right? I always think about something that I could be doing differently or better because of what started right here in this building, right? When it was crappier turf, or there was a rip over there in the corner that we always had to run away from, right? But at the end of the day, that's what's really helped.
Yeah, it's a loaded question. When you sit and really think about it, at least from my perspective, now that I'm a little older, I think it's who I am, frankly. I think that it is a platform. There was a time in my life where I did it at a high level because I hated to lose, and I was very competitive, and I wanted to win, and that was really big part of it. And then I got kind of cynical to the sport. I hated losing. I hated, being around guys that didn't think the same way I did at certain levels. And so I got kind of cynical with it, and I tried to get away from it. And then when I kind of put my guard back down and realized it's a blessing to be labeled a football player, instead of being like a dumb jock, is how it's easy to be labeled at some point. I really owned it, and I was like, no, football is who I am. I'm proud of what it represents. I'm proud of the teamwork. I'm proud of the trials and tribulations. Like, it's awesome. I am proud to be a football coach and try to impact others. And it's so quick to be a negative connotation to it all. There was a time where I had that, but to see what it has provided, the platform for me to chase my dreams, provided me my personal growth, exposed me to individuals I never would have got to meet, got me to travel places I never thought I could travel to and take care of my family in a way I never thought I could. I mean, I'm so thankful for the opportunity to be associated with this sport. And I just want others to feel the same gratification and excellence that I was blessed to witness. So what football means to me, I mean, frankly, it means everything from a platform perspective.
I think that's so good. I relate to it on so many levels, man. Like, throughout my career in football, I've learned so much about life in general. It teaches you lessons. The things that you go through on the field, the things that you do in the off season with your teammates, with your brothers, those are the things that you can take and put into your real life and learn, like how to push through adversity. You may, years down the line, have a bad day at work, and you learned, during mat drills at 6 in the morning, like how to push through hard times. And these things that I've learned in football have grown me up and turned me into a man way sooner than I would have if I didn't have football. And the things that I've learned through this sport and through the people that have had an impact on me because of football, I just feel so much more prepared to go tackle what's next in life. And I'm so blessed and fortunate, like Coach Hart said, to be a football player and to be labeled a football player. It's not who I am, it's what I do, but at the end of the day, man, it has done so much for me. And, I'm just thankful for the opportunity to have played football. And, I think it's going to continue to bless me for years and years to come, and it's an honor. It's an unbelievable game. I think it's the most pure team sport. There's no sport like it. There's no sport that brings people together like football.
All right, gentlemen, a little bit on a lighter note. What is the funniest or craziest moment that you have had in football? And we'll start with Will and go on down the line.
Oh, man. Funniest or craziest moment?
Cameras are on.
Cameras, oh, shoot, man.
And a lot more recent memory than
I was going to say, I mean...
In the building, out of the building.
I know.
Whatever you feel like you want to reveal.
Yeah. I was going to say...
You want to come back to it later. You want to think about it and come back to it later?
We'll go. I mean, shoot. I guess I'll go surface level here. Pretty easy. I guess last year, throughout the whole playoff run, like, there's some unbelievable memories. Some of my favorite, I would say one of my favorites was definitely the Jack Sawyer strip sack versus Texas, man, and going up to him afterwards and, punching his chest and, like, I think I said some, like, expletives and got in his grill. And the funny thing is that if you ask him about it, he has no idea what I said to this day. He just saw that my mouth was moving and I was fired up. So that was like one of the craziest I've ever been going in my life. I think, I don't know what I was saying when he was running down the sideline, but I was losing my mind. So I guess that's mine.
I don't know, man. I feel like all of these crazy moments come with like, hey, I was talking to you and you don't remember that? Like, it's all over ESPN, and then they're like, hey, we read your lips, and then, did you say the right thing? It's like, you're on the football field, like, what are you talking about? But similarly speaking, right, there was so much adversity that we had in our season in 2014 going into the next national championship, and then once we did it, right, there were, hey, are we beating the best defense in the country by 50 some odd points, right, in the third quarter? So I feel like there's a lot of kind of like, hit and giggle kind of stuff that we had, really, but for us it's just more about those moments, right, like the ability to come over adversity and say, you know what, these are my brothers, and there's no human on this earth that's going to take me away from my goal or my job, and that's to make sure that I block or catch or whatever for the next guy. So it's the fun memories. I can't pull one out for you, but it's always a good ride.
Yeah, I would say there's a combination. There's magical memory, one that echoes with me for that entire year. Frankly, sorry, CT, was his the game he had in Chicago. That's always sat with me, and I don't know why certain things linger with people, but that one always sat with me. For him to go home and do what he did in that environment was special for me. The second one also involved Will. Sometimes we do some game planning, and Will loves to come in and like game plan with us. Sorry, Will. And
this is coming.
And so we're just trying to pick his brain about what he likes. I was like, what do you like here? Like, if you could pick anyone, I think we're getting ready to go to Oregon and go to the Rose Bowl. And he's like, I like a good pipe call. I said, you like what? And he rode with it. He's like, yeah, man, just call pipe. I'm like, okay, we got it. All right, so long story short, then we kind of get through the week and come to find out, we got a tempo call. We called pipe just for Will. And he scored down the middle of the field with Emeka Egbuka at the Rose Bowl for a touchdown. So he likes a good pipe call, and that was his favorite.
Pipe's a damn good play.
Carnell?
I'll say the craziest moment, definitely the Northwestern game. I was back home. They were scored 2 touchdowns thanks to Will that game. Being back home since my freshman year, playing in front of a family, I had probably like 40 members there. So that was that was a crazy moment. They also just the natty, the experience there was like crazy, like unbelievable. That's like a once in a lifetime opportunity, and not like all the things that we've done to get there and all the preparation we put in. It's still crazy to this day.
All right, some individual questions for each of you. Coach Hartline.
Yo.
Greatest play you ever made?
The completion, whatever completion it was. The one that echoes though in my brain is probably an opportunity to go to Arizona, and Ryan Tannehill was a rookie at the time, and I had a chance to break the all-time receiving record in yards per game for the Dolphins. Went for like 253 and I don't know, 13 catches, something like that. And but there was the last one I remember because they were undefeated. They were 6-0, I believe, and we ended up not pulling out the game. So that's really what still sits with me to this point. But we had an exit call, which was 2 guys that basically crossed through the middle of the field. We called it on like the 20-yard line. So just 2 guys sprinting across the field in a foot race. I caught one over my left shoulder and got down the sideline. And there was another dude chasing me, I forget who it was, but I dove from like the 5 to score, and I scored. I remember hitting my back and thinking like, shit, I can't breathe. But like I didn't want to show it, I wanted to act tough, so I got up and I acted cool, and then I'm walking back to the side, I'm like, holy shit, I can't breathe. And but yeah, that's probably the one that kind of echoes in my mind through those years.
All right, Evan Spencer. One of the most memorable plays in recent years in Ohio State history was a touchdown pass that Evan Spencer threw right before halftime to Michael Thomas in the semifinals against Alabama. What a lot of people may not realize, and Evan, correct me if I'm wrong, I think you had that same play called against Michigan State, but it didn't happen. But if you would talk about what you thought when they called that play for you to throw the ball.
Well, the eternal coach's kid the first time decided not to throw it. That was too risky, right? We went the conservative route, 11 yards, first down, let's keep it moving. And then I got so much SHIT from the entire receiver room afterwards. I said, there's nobody, you're going to have 20 people on you, and I'm throwing it to you next time. But honestly, that play obviously defined my career. I wish that there were some more moments like that, but ultimately I think there were other moments in that game that I hold value in the most, right?
The block when Ezekiel Elliott got wide open.
The block was one, but more the onside recovery was one of the most specific ones. Because that was a perfect kick. And at the end of the day, right, those are the moments where it's like, hey, it's mano-y-mano, it's me versus you, right? I don't care what a 40 is, I don't care what a vertical is, it's how bad do you want it, right? And I think that's a theme that we'll probably talk about, and hopefully you guys can take back with your kids as well. It's how bad do you want this, right? I talked earlier about a productive paranoia. It was, I can catch more balls in a day because I feel like you're trying to outnumber me, right? So like, similarly speaking here, right? So once I get back to that onside kick, and then the kicker puts it on the opposite hash, and it's coming to me, and it's like, hey, I'm here for a reason, right? Now it's time for me to do my job, right? So for me, that was one of the most fulfilling, because it had to come down to that. My teammates were relying on me, everybody was relying on me, and at the end of the day, it was a team-based goal. I didn't do it to catch a touchdown, I didn't do it to do anything else, but to secure the win for my brothers, because we had to grind in order to get there. So that's what's one of the thing that's most fulfilling to me.
Carnell, you talked a little bit about the national championship, but if you would, talk about what it was like when you guys came out onto the field at home against Tennessee. You saw a little bit of that orange, but you saw a lot of scarlet and gray, and what it was like to play in the first ever home game in December at Ohio Stadium.
Oh, that game was very exciting. That was like probably our first night game, home game in the shoe. So we knew the AD, he cooked us up something as far as the environment there. Like we were just ready to play. We were ready to go prove ourselves. All the preparation we had put in, we just came off a loss. Like we were just ready to go let it rip. And then the guys, we went out there, high energy, went up quick. Yeah, they had their shirts off, but like us, we gonna stay warm during their pregame. Like, I'm gonna wear my layers.
Now, Will, you're the one non-receiver sitting up here, but if remember from looking over your bio and getting ready for the season, you do have a career touchdown reception. Tell us about that.
I do. It was the first game my senior year, 2023 at Kansas State. I actually had a passing, receiving, and rushing touchdown that game. It was against Southeastern Missouri, so, wasn't a huge game, but
Athlete.
I guess triple threat right there, I don't know. But it was like I gave the ball like an outside zone action, and he threw it back to me. It was like a screen, and I ran it like 5 yards.
Did you trip?
I stayed up this time. It wasn't that long, so I kept my feet. But yeah, that was fun doing that. That was the only time I did that.
Oh, good. Lastly, for each of you, and Will, we'll start with you and go down the line. What do you wish that your high school coach had demanded from you to help you get ready for the next level?
That's a really good question, man. I think, all I wish I would have been told when I was in high school is that, man, like, you never know what's going to happen, and you may have a plan, especially, if you're going on to the next level, or even in high school, you may have a plan for what's going to happen, but it's about how you're able to adapt and adjust and take coaching and take criticism that can make you great and that can take you to new levels. And if someone would have told me that, as much as I wish I maybe would have listened to that, I don't know if, 16-year-old me would have really understood that, but if there's some way that you can make these kids understand, like, man, you never know what's going to happen, but you just work hard, have fun, believe in yourself. At the end of the day, everything's going to work out, man. Like, just trust in your work and trust in yourself. And I think I'm a believer in positive reinforcement, man, and pump these kids up. Yeah, you may have to get on them, but pump them up, man. At the end of the day, like, make sure that they still love the game, because I saw that at my high school. I had a coach that was hard on guys, and some guys just didn't understand that, but there were other guys there to help pick them up, and I thought my coach did a really good job of establishing a staff that was, guys of different, backgrounds that could, get along with different groups of players and coach from different perspectives. And I think, I had a really good experience with my high school, and, I'm really thankful for the coaches that I had, but man, just the more that you can reinforce, have fun, be flexible, don't take yourself too seriously, man. This is a game at the end of the day, and you gotta have fun playing it, if you want to have any success.
Yeah, I think through my experience, I changed positions. I was a receiver. Well, first of all, I ran track as a freshman. I was pretty good as a freshman. By the time I got to freshman football, though, or that sophomore year, I didn't play. I wasn't ready to play. I was a sophomore. And so I had a decent head on my shoulders. My parents weren't crazy pushing me, and he has to play. I didn't earn it yet, so that was fine. My junior year, I started to play more. I was the quarterback, though. We didn't have another guy at that time. The quarterback, I was playing quarterback. My brother ended up coming up and taking my job as a freshman to be the quarterback, so I moved to my general spot as a receiver. And then my first game of my senior year, I broke my leg, so I lost my senior year. Stayed motivated and wanted to run track that spring. So, and I had a lot of people around me motivating me to do so, and that was very beneficial for me. But I think when I look back, there wasn't a whole lot of motivation needed, I think, for myself. I think that the one thing I wish they would have pulled out of me more was probably more leadership. I think we had a good group of guys in our school at the time that naturally wanted the best version of themselves. They didn't need a lot of motivation, but I would have liked my coach to pull me aside and demand more leadership out of me with my peers. I think I probably did a decent job, so they kind of left me alone, but I know I had more in the tank. And I wish they would have seen that, challenged me on that, and then tried to quantify that of whether I was doing a good job or not doing a good job. Give me a responsibility of a guy that really needed it. Not another guy that was in a good spot, but a guy that really needed some leadership. Maybe, I don't know, again, like fatherless home or some kind of situation I could have helped. And I just didn't have that perspective of where I was to try to do that. I was great with everybody, I was friends with everybody, but I think I probably had more gas in the tank from a leadership perspective. I wish my coaches would have pushed me to do that. That's probably the one area that I kind of regret.
No, that's great. I mean, it's a perfect thing. Leadership takes every team to success, and without it, you don't win at the end of the day. For me, as I think back about like what I wish the coach would have prepared me a little bit more for coming out of high school, it's just the focus on the relatability of the small things, right? I mean, making it to training table 5 minutes early. I mean, yes, everybody makes it on time, right? But are you the first guy at training table? Going to your tutor, sure, you may not need a tutor, but are you the first one asking questions? Why is this important? Well, working a muscle also means working the discipline muscle too. Are you disciplined enough to run a route when you're tired and you can't think? Are you disciplined enough to know exactly that that's the coverage, even though they're tilting a new way, this guy's looking at me a very specific way, and every time I see him on film, he does this, and it's always covered too. Right? You have to train your discipline muscle. And I think for me, that was something I really had to work hard on, right? I mean, everybody that steps foot in this room or rooms similar to it are the best at their position in their area, period. That's the only reason you get here, right? So once you get here, the ability, your ability to go do those things is not what's going to make you great. Your ability to push the edge, your ability to try to catch 1,000 more balls than anybody else on your team, your ability to go a perfect rate in attendance at tutoring or training table or mentoring or what have you. Those are the things that apply. Yes, that means you may go for 1 million touchdowns, but guess what? You're going to be an awesome person when it comes to being a husband. You're going to be an awesome person in the boardroom or at some company or what have you. Training that muscle, I think, was one thing that I learned, but definitely could have had been more refined coming out of high school for sure.
For me, it's the next play mentality. I mean, I feel like a lot of us get too caught up in the moment of what's going on. We may drop a ball like receivers and stuff, but it's like the next play that matters. Like you can't let the last play prevent you from going and make the next play. Like life goes on, life moves on, so like you can't let the past prevent you from going to succeed in the future. And then something that's always stuck to me is not even Coach Hart preaches and now being uncommon amongst the common. I mean, like we're all elite receivers here at Ohio State, but it's like the little thing, like Spencer said, what separates us from each other. Like we all have the great playmaking ability, but it's like you have to be consistent in the room to stand out from each other. So those are the 2 things that stuck with me.
Gentlemen, thanks for sharing. Continued success in everything you do.
Thank you.
Thank you. Go Bucks.